Welcome to the 2020 Millington Star City of Millington Candidate Forum, virtual style. Hi, as you can see, we're coming from the Millington-Memphis Airport because this is the perfect place to do this candidate forum intro. Millington is a city poised for takeoff, and we have this year 11 people who want to be a part of the City of Millington's future through the school board and board of mayor and aldermen. So this year is very unique because usually we'll gather everybody in a big old auditorium, put them on stage, and have everybody come in and ask the candidates questions. But we can't do this year because of a global pandemic. So at the Millington Star, we thought, how can we get information to the voters, allow these candidates to inform the voters on why they should be sitting up there, help leading this city through the school board and aldermen. Let's go to them or have them come to us. So we have the 6 candidates who are opposing each other going to talk to you, answer the same questions. They were not privy to the questions prior to me coming to ask these questions to them. The aldermen will answer the same 3 questions, those candidates, and the school board member candidates will answer the same 3 questions. So let's get ready to check out and see what they have to say. Before we get to the candidates, I have a little explaining to do. For the 2020 ballot, for the alderman positions 1, 3, 5, and 7 were up for a re-election. And that was school board, my bad. And then for aldermen, 7, 5, and 6 positions were up. So Thomas McGhee, position 5 alderman, is unopposed this year. You still got to get out there and vote for him. Position 6, Lowry, is unopposed. You still got to get out there and vote for him. Now let's go to the school board. With position 7, Chris Denson is unopposed this year, and position 5, Halliburton, she's unopposed this year. But you still got to get out there and vote for him. So, who's up for election this year in a campaign race? And alderman, position 7, Tom Stevens, is taking on the incumbent Mike Caruthers. And at the school board, position 1, we have 2 newcomers because Roger Christopher is deciding to step down at the end of his term, Marlon Evans versus Gregory Ritter. And position 3, Mark Coulter versus Deanna Speight. So, what we're going to do is allow those who are opposing each other to have 2 minutes on each question. They have an intro where they get to tell you who they are. Then at the end, they have a closing statement where they tell you why you should vote for them. And in our order, the incumbent will go first. And in this case, there will be Mark Coulter and Mike Caruthers when their positions come up. And then, in the case of Marlon Evans and Greg Ritter, we're going to go in alphabetical order. Now we have school board position 1 candidates.
Hello, my name is Marlon Evans. I'm 55 years old. I've lived in Millington since 1987. I attended and graduated high school in Lake Village, Arkansas. I also went to the University of Arkansas at Monticello and married to Carla Evans. I have 3 sons, Blake, Corey, and Derek. I have 1 daughter-in-law, Leilani. I have 1 grandchild, Layla, 6, and I have 2 new grandchildren, twins that were born over a month ago, Layla and Isla, and I'm very excited about them. The reason I'm running for the Millington School Board is I want to add a fresh voice to help elevate Millington schools. The future legacy of our children are actually sitting in our classrooms today, and I think it's very important that we help these children reach their full potential to be everything they can be and improve the student achievement with them because they're going to be the ones that are running this city in the next several years. So I want to do all that I possibly can to make sure these kids are equipped to be good students and be good leaders for our community in the future. I want to do all I can do to see this happen. We're affected probably more by local government than we are by any federal or state elections because our local government runs our cities and affects us personally. So I want to try to help equip and build up our children to be wise, grounded leaders.
First question, do you think the school system should seek donations from Millington residents in its efforts to raise funds for its 5-year capital improvements plan? Why or why not? Your 2 minute begins now.
If we wanted to ask for donations from the city from voters and from Millington residents, I think they would be okay. But I think we would be. I think there's other better ways to raise the money. I know that we approximately get $500,000, or probably a little bit more, I think, from the committed from the city, and I think that we get $24+ million from federal aid and some state aid, most of it coming from federal and state taxes. What I think we need to do, a big thing to get money for this program, is to build homes. There's some homes being built in this city right now, and that's great. But we need to encourage these contractors to come in and build in our city, because I believe we get $11,000 approximately for every student that's brought into Millington schools. So if you're building 1,000 homes with an average of only one kid in that home, you're looking at $11 million. If my math is right, you're looking at $11 million right there. So I think it's that we very much need to urge the city leaders to continue to build homes and get families in here with kids to attend the schools. There's some other things we can do to raise the money, but mostly it's going to come from taxpayers. And like I said, building homes and getting people to encourage people to move into Millington is probably going to be our biggest asset as far as getting families and things in here. And I know we get some money from from Shelby County, but you never can tell exactly what we're going to get. And it doesn't allow us to be able to plan for future things with them. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. It depends on what some other schools are getting as to what we get. So that's kind of iffy sometimes, but we do need to, I think we need to build more homes, get more families in here, and get more students in the schools.
Question number 2. How has the school system performed above and below your expectations during its first 6 years, and what improvements should be made? Your 2 minutes starts now.
There is no perfect school. I'll tell you that right now. There is not a perfect school that has perfect teachers, perfect administration, all the money they need. We're faced with some challenges in Millington, and we know that. We need to continue to strive to raise test scores. I still believe that we need to elevate the public view of Millington school system. We need to continue to prove in all 5 categories in which we are tested in. I think we've gained some ground in employee compensation benefits, which is a good thing. But the policies and the performance of the school is always kind of a changing mechanism. There's different circumstances that come up at different times that affects that. COVID is a prime example. We never thought we'd have to deal with the school system the way it is, and it took some people thinking on their feet to get things moved around where we can still continue with school as we have, and I think they've done an excellent job with that. So there's different things I think we can do. We need to acquire probably some other property for school expansion. I would love to see us still continue to push Shelby County Schools to give us Lucy Elementary. That'd be a great way to open up some doors to move some children over there and expand out a little bit. We would probably have to keep some of their children there in that school that already go there, but that's fine. I don't think there's a problem to that. We need to keep expanding on our college credit eligible classes, get these kids ready for college with some classes there in high school so it gives them a leg up once they get started in the school. We need to continue to do the, I call them shop classes. That's the old school way of saying it, but it's I think it's the CT classes, the vocational training classes. We need to continue to improve on that and have more of those classes available to give these kids the opportunity to go to training schools when they want to get out. If they don't want to go to college, they can go to vocational training schools. We need to make sure these things are available to the students of Shelby County or Millington school system.
Question number 3. How are you best qualified to make decisions about current education policies and budgets that will have a positive impact on teacher instruction and student learning? Your 2 minutes begins now.
I've been a civil servant for over 27 years. I started with the Shelby County Sheriff's Office in 1993, and I've been with them and Germantown Police Departments. In those 27 years, I have dealt with a lot of situations that probably people will never be involved in, and I think that's made me a pretty grounded person. I've worked as a school resource officer. I've worked on the campuses of Bartlett, Germantown, Millington, Kirby when it was city school, all of them. I worked on all of them. So I've worked on the outside of the schools, on the inside of the schools with administration, and I've worked on the outside of the schools as a parent too, because I've had 3 sons that graduated from Millington Central High Schools. So I've kind of seen both sides of the fence in dealing with parents and dealing with administration. So I kind of know where both sides come from, and I'm going to glean and expand off those qualities. And as if I'm elected on the board, which I plan to be elected on the board, I'll pick up on some of the policy and procedure and some more of the details of what's going on with the school system. And I plan on being heavily involved in the decisions to promote these schools.
In closing, you have 2 minutes starting now.
In closing, there is some people that's really been effective in helping me and encouraging me to run for the school board, and I thank them very much. Without their help and their wisdom and their guidance, I would not know what I'm doing, which I am learning every day, this process. But hey, I want to thank Judge Mark Ward. He's a state judge of our 30th Judicial District that's encouraged me and has run for office before, and has given me a lot of points. I very much covet his help. Senator Rose, I met him back early in the year, and I called and told him what I was doing, and he said, absolutely, I'll back you. Ms. Kay Haley, thank you very much for the pictures. Terry Rowland, thank you very much for the pictures. There's been several key city leaders that's encouraged me and helped me, and I appreciate that very much, more than you'll ever know. My family and my wife puts up with me leaving the house every day and knocking on doors and talking to people and going to meetings. My 3 sons, they all support me and they try to help me out as much as they possibly can. But there's a lot of cogs in the wheel that's went in helping me run for the school board, and I'm very appreciative of them. I want to tell you that in my personal job, I deal with negotiations a lot. I watch attorneys negotiate all day long, and I've gleaned a lot on how to communicate and negotiate with people to get a problem solved. On a personal note, I've seen far too many kids come through our school systems that didn't have a proper education, and that's got to stop. There's too many kids coming through that doesn't have a proper education, and they're getting caught up in the judicial system, and that doesn't need to be. Like I said, I've been a school resource officer, I've been a substitute teacher, and I've been a parent, so I've been to where both sides have been, and it's very sticky, but I know how they feel. I want to tell you that I appreciate everybody that votes for me. I can't thank you enough, and it'd be an honor, an absolute honor for you to vote for me and for you to elect me on this board. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Greg Ritter. I live in Millington. I've always lived in Millington. I grew up there. I attended all my schooling in Millington. I went to Millington Elementary, I went to Millington Middle, and I'm a 1988 graduate of Millington High School. From there I went to Rhodes College. I graduated in 1993 with a bachelor's degree in business administration, and then again in 1994 with a master's of science in accountancy. I was one of the members of the first program there. I have 3 children that are in Millington schools. My daughter Caitlin graduated in 2016. My son Garrett is a freshman, and my son Ryan is in the 7th grade at Millington Middle. I look forward to serving on the school board again. I was lucky enough to serve on the initial school board when we started the school system in 2013, and I'm hoping to get back on there and help the system grow to where I know that it can be. One of the issues that I think is critical that we need to handle in the upcoming months is the effect of the coronavirus, and how are our students and teachers adapting to it? Are they getting the support that they need to be able to learn in a virtual environment or a hybrid environment? And on the teacher standpoint, how are they able to get it all done? I think we've done a good job with changing some of the schedules to have a kind of a free Friday to be able to get all the grades in. But are we doing everything that we can? Is this something that we have to look at going forward? And so those are, to me, that's one of the biggest issues that we face right now.
The first question, do you think the school system should seek donations from Millington residents in its efforts to raise funds for its 5-year capital improvement plan? Why or why not?
I think that's one avenue that the school system should pursue. Maybe not so much as actively seeking donations all the time, but give residents an opportunity or a vehicle to contribute if they so choose. When the district started back in 2013, the capital plan was about $48 to $60 million worth of needs just starting out. EA Herald, for most people, is on top of the list. The board at that time chose to go in a different direction to try to go with the plan that had been established by Shelby County Schools, and that's why you now have a performing arts center in the middle of the campus. EA Herald is still looming. Other schools are still looming. There's still a lot of needs. Millington's a small community. We don't have a lot of revenue streams from taxes. We haven't seen a lot of development. So anything that we can do to try to generate revenue to take care of our kids, I think we need to investigate.
Question 2. How has the school system performed above and below your expectations during its first 6 years, and what improvements should be made? Your time starts now.
I think the school system's done reasonably well. I mean, given that we're a small system, I think challenge number one was to get the system up and running and make sure that we were viable. And I believe we did that in the first couple of years. We were able to establish the needs of the system from a teacher standpoint and kind of see where the money was and how we needed to spend it. So I think we got off to a pretty good start from that standpoint. One of the measures of any school system is student achievement. I think we struggled a little bit out of the gate, but I think we've made improvements. I think we're getting better. And then, of course, the coronavirus hit. And that's kind of suspended all testing, which to me is not necessarily a bad thing, because one of the things that I don't like about education right now is that we teach a lot to the test. And I think a lot of the fun has gone out of learning because it doesn't really give the teachers a lot of time to develop the relationships that they have or that they can with students to where they can actually promote learning and fun. And that's one of the things that I want to get back to, is put the fun back in school. Because I remember I had a lot of fun when I was in school. I learned a lot and I worked hard, but I really enjoyed going to school. And a lot of kids do as well, not just for the learning. They learn, but they have fun there. And when you're pounding on the tests and the testing and teaching to the test like we've seen, it's really a drain on the kids. So I think we need to do something different in Millington. I think we need to recognize that we're a different district, do things a little bit differently, and bring the fun back to school.
Question 3. How are you best qualified to make decisions about current education policies and budgets that will have a positive impact on teacher instruction and student learning? Your time starts now.
I think I'm best qualified because I have a vested interest in the success of the school system. I currently have 2 children in the school system, and as a result of being a youth coach at Millington for several years, I've got a lot of kids in the system. And so I really want to see them do well. And I know one of the ways that they can do well is if they have fun while they're at school. And that's why I'm a big advocate for us taking a look at policies and procedures and what we teach and focus on fun so our kids can learn. In addition to that, I also have a CPA. I have a finance background. I work with budgets. I was on the initial school board and I spent a lot of time poring over the numbers and seeing how we could make those work. So I think that experience was invaluable, as well as serving with several of the current board members really qualify for me to come in and make a difference right out of the gate.
In closing, you have 2 minutes.
First, I'd like to thank the Millington Star for putting this together. Not all the citizens of Millington get to see us every day, so I think this is a good way to learn about the candidates that are out there. And I ask that you vote for Greg Ritter on November 3rd or during early voting. I think I'm the most qualified candidate. I think we have a strong field in position 1. I think both of us could do a good job. I just think I'm the better candidate because I've been there, because I'm vested with my children and my students that are in the system, and I get along well with the board members on there. I know what our role is. Our job is to evaluate the superintendent and the job that he's doing and promote the school system. I think I do that, and I think I would do a good job of that again, and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Now we will have school board position 3 candidates.
How you doing? My name is Mark Coulter. I am running for school board position 3. My family is a long-lived residents of Millington. My son has graduated from there. My wife has retired from EA Herald after 23 years. So this is why I'm a good candidate to run for school board.
Question number 1. Do you think the school system should seek donations from Millington residents in its efforts to raise funds for its 5-year capital improvement plan? Why or why not? Your 2 minutes begins now.
At this time, I do not believe that the citizens should be raising money to fund the education program. At the end of the day is that we have a good fund balance, and we have federal grant monies, and Shelby County has given us money, and plus the city of Millington gives us money. Now, I am a fan of anybody, because we do have donations that people that donate to sports and things that this passion for them. I am a fan of that. So for me personally, the next 5-year plans can be donated from our own federal grant monies and what the city and county does for us.
Question number 2. How has the school system performed above and below your expectations during its first 6 years, and what improvements should be made? Your 2 minutes starts now.
What I believe hasn't been a big improvement since I've been on the board is that we've had a new superintendent. The new superintendent has brought a different, for me, has brought a different leadership to it, a communications, a spirit with it. We still have a lot to go and learn as we run for this next election. It's a growing, my belief for our improvements for our Millington School District is that I believe that we need a number 2. Our superintendent is running the day-to-day operations as far as academics with his team out of the central office and principals and staff. Me putting us a number 2 there that we was when I first came on board was a big help to the superintendent. As we move forward, I would love to see the superintendent get him a number 2 position there to lead this district in a better way so he can do what he needs to do as a superintendent. Number 2 would create the comrade for us, the spirit, the academics part, and as we move forward with the Trojans to be the best district in this we can have. Thank you.
Question number 3. How are you best qualified to make decisions about current education policies and budgets that will have a positive impact on teacher instruction and student learning? Your 2 minutes begins now.
One thing that I've learned about this budget working with the school system, it is totally different than my own budget in my own business. It's not that it's the big budget, it's the deductions, the federal grants that we deal with. We have a policy committee that handles all policy for us. As a budget, we come as a whole. We meet with the superintendent, with our board multiple times. As we sit down, we do it with the city, sit down and see where we need to be as far as our budgets, matching their budgets and seeing where we can move forward to help each other. My experience of this is me being working for a large major company that dominated the industry in K-12 for many, many, many years. Also, the last 6 years I've ran my own business with my partner, and it's been the best thing for us to move forward. Thank you.
In closing, you have 2 minutes.
I just want to say why I feel like I'm the best candidate to run for position 3 at Millington School Board. First thing is I've been a long-time resident of Millington, Tennessee. My family's been here. My wife has retired from EA Herald. My family, my brothers have worked here. We all went to school here. At the end of the day, this is about 2,500 kids that we have to support. We have to do what's right for them. If we want great leaders in this town, our children deserve the best. We still have a lot of improvements that we need to do here, guys. This is a work in progress. This will be my second term. If you re-elect me, I hope that you take the time to look at this and be serious about what we're moving to the next stage. But I just want everybody to know that this is a love and a passion of mine in Millington, Tennessee. I own my own business here. I have my own office in this town. And I just want to move forward with the next step of being on position 3. So all I can do is ask you for your support, and I appreciate that.
Hi, I'm Dr. Deanna Speight, family nurse practitioner. I have a practice in Mumford, Tennessee, and I've been practicing there for 12 years. I'm married to a Memphis fireman, Robert Speight. He's been on the fire department there as a driver for 25 years. I have two children, 17 and 14. They are both Trojans. I play volleyball for the Trojans, and my 14-year-old is a freshman. My 17-year-old actually is homeschooled now because of some issues that we have had at the school with her anxiety. So that is one of the major reasons that I'm running, is just to be a voice for those with disabilities.
Question 1. Do you think the school system should seek donations from Millington residents in its efforts to raise funds for its 5-year capital improvements plan? Why or why not? Your 2 minutes begins now.
I do believe that we should do some fundraising. There's plenty of offices, businesses around that I think would help support the schools, so that we could have some facilities such as Bartlett, Carterville, Arlington, to be even half of what they have. I think that fundraising using even traditional fundraising, selling Trojan wear, selling for the elementary schools, selling t-shirts, selling masks at this point since we have to wear masks. There are lots of things that we could do to raise some money for the schools, and even asking residents for $5, $10 here and there would be a big help.
Question number 2. How has the school system performed above and below your expectations during its first 6 years, and what improvements should be made? Your 2 minutes begins now.
I really think that it has performed below my expectations because of the way that they have personally affected my daughter. She has severe anxiety, panic disorder. We tried to incorporate her back into the school. She was thrown into alternative school instead of the regular classroom, which was a problem for her. So they sent her to alternative school, but when she was ready, she was reprimanded for wanting to go to class. They wanted her to stay in alternative school for a certain amount of time and not to come out. And I know that it was a accountability thing. They needed to know where she was at all times, but I think when she was ready and she felt comfortable and wanted to go to class, we should have let her go to class. She was also had a service dog, which several teachers were asked to report on the dog's behavior, and because the dog wasn't acting like a service dog would for somebody that was blind or that couldn't hear, it was interpreted that the dog was not doing her job when Emma was actually able to go to class and Emma was able to function every day with her dog there. And that was a big plus for her. Callie also was very trained to calm Emma down during all of those situations. She would also be able to lick her when she would pass out because of a panic attack. She licked her to be able to wake her up. So these were all things that I think and then the dog was actually kicked out of the school because of those things. So those are the things I think we need some improvement on, is dealing with kids with disabilities.
And your third and final question is, how are you best qualified to make decisions about current education policies and budgets that will have a positive impact on teacher instruction and student learning? Your 2 minutes begins now.
Well, I've had a successful business in Mumford, like I said earlier, for almost 12 years. So running a business and running budgets, paying bills, etc., I'm pretty good at. Also, I think having a child that has been on homebound and been using the online Eduinity prior to this year, when everyone has gone to that, I saw firsthand the troubles that she had with the teaching on that, and then now we're having trouble. People are all complaining about the platforms that we're using. They're going from 2 to 3 different places to get assignments. I think we need to streamline that and get that into one platform if we're going to have to continue doing any online work. Also, being in the medical field, I can help with the COVID and help with cleaning, CDC recommendations, anything else that we need as related to COVID. I think being in the medical field, I can help with that.
In closing, you have 2 minutes.
I want to be on the school board to help be a voice for your children. I want to help those with disabilities, those with anxiety, those with unseen disabilities such as the anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts. I think that we need more counselors in the schools that can help deal with these problems. Kids are very mean, especially girls, boys, all of them. They're just mean to each other. And I think that if we had more counselors in schools, then they can get help there and may not have to seek so much help outside of the school system. Private counselors take a long time to get into, and that something may happen prior to them being able to be seen in the private sector. So I think a counselor at all the schools would be beneficial. I just want to be a voice for your kid.
Alderman, position 7 candidates.
My name is Mike Caruthers. I'm running for Alderman position 7. I'm originally from Columbia, Tennessee. I graduated from high school at Columbia, Tennessee, and I went to college at Tennessee Tech and Central Michigan University. Spent 26 years in the Army, retired as a lieutenant colonel from the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Decided to move to Millington, and in 2004 I ran for alderman against Linda Carter. I got beat. Then I ran again in 2008. I won that election, and I won 2 other elections. It's been my pleasure to serve the city of Millington as an alderman. I think I contribute to it. As long as I'm contributing, I feel like I can say as an alderman. So I enjoy it, and the city is moving forward fastly, and I'd like to be there when it continues to move forward. That's all I got.
Question number 1. What will you do to ensure that the Millington Municipal School System receives sufficient local funding each year to successfully operate and meet its capital improvement needs, starting now?
The Millington schools are funded mostly by the state of Tennessee through what's called BOE, or Basis of Education. They get most of their funding through there. The only thing that the city is required to do is fund what's called a maintenance of effort, and we're currently funding $500,000 a year. A lot of that comes from that sales tax that we passed several years ago. So my proposal is we'll continue doing that, and if something happens where they need more funding, they have to come in and ask us for it for their budget. And I think we'd probably approve some. We had they asked for $26 million, I believe, for funding for a new school, and we couldn't afford that without raising taxes. So that's sort of on the back burner. Hopefully we can get the tax base back up where we can do stuff like that. But I'll do everything I can. I've been the biggest supporter of the Millington schools on the board of mayor and aldermen. I was head of the transition team, so I'm a very big proponent of Millington schools. That's all.
Question number 2. What will you do to recruit more businesses and industries to locate in Millington, particularly along Veterans Parkway and Highway 51, as a way to increase economic development? Your time starts now.
Yeah, that's a good question. We spent $26 million on Veterans Parkway, and so far we've only got like 1 business, and I've been disappointed in that. The Chamber of Commerce has been pushing for businesses. The Industrial Development Board has been pushing for businesses. It's just hard in this economy to get people to move in here. Now, I do sit on the Millington Municipal Planning Board, and I have tried my best to make it business friendly, so when businesses come in that they feel welcome to Millington, and we have done that. If you look along Highway 51 and all the shopping centers that we've got, we did that in the last 6 years. So we've been doing that because Millington runs on sales tax. It does not run on property tax. You know, property tax, 1 cent of property tax increase is around $16,000. It'd take a lot of $16,000 to build a school. So we have to live on our sales tax. So we have to be business friendly. Now, one thing that we're currently doing on the Plan Commission is we're proposing an ordinance to relieve some of the small businesses on their signage and provide banners that they can do and take away the 30-day time limit on it. So I'm hoping that will pass and that will help a little bit. It's not going to help a lot, but anything we can do is worth it. That's it.
Okay. Question number 3. What will you do to ensure that Millington is a safe community with enhanced amenities that inspire individuals and families to make Millington their permanent home? Your time starts now.
Okay. Number one, to make it a safe community, we need to ensure that our police department is funded and our fire department is funded, and they both have excellent training programs to make sure they can handle any situation that comes along, including demonstrations or anything like that we might have. Now I sit on the Planning Commission, and we've got a lot of stuff in the works. The future of Millington is better now than it's ever been since I've lived here. We're working on putting a dog park out in Centennial Park. That helps. We've got the resiliency park coming in. It's going to have ball fields, soccer fields, hiking areas, all kinds of stuff that's going to make it really, really good. And it's going to prevent flooding in the Millington forever. I got somebody coming in. I forgot, I'm sorry.
We're talking about making Millington safer and also why
Kevin,
people
can
should
you
make
wait
it
a
home.
minute?
I will.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry.
And why you should make Millington your home and why would it be safer?
Well, do I need to start over?
Does it keep going? Or you still got mint?
I forgot where I was at.
You're talking about the resiliency.
Okay, and we've got the parks that we've got developing coming into Millington. We'll really make it big. Per capita, we've got more parks, I believe, than any other city in Shelby County, and we're getting more. So I'm really pleased with the resiliency park. We need to put a name on it, and we're looking at doing that. We got quite a few housing developments coming in. We got the one on Wilkinsville Road, and houses are selling pretty good. We've got another one coming up on next to Pig and Whistle. I forgot how many houses, but they're going to start working on that soon. Then there's another one that's being developed, going to be developed once we get the utilities over off of Shelby Road with 142 houses, I believe. And the city is right now working on expanding all the utilities, our sewer lines, our water lines, looking at building a new water plant north of Lowe's to support all that.
In closing, you have
Yeah.
2 minutes, starting now.
Okay. I'd like to thank you, Thomas Sellers, for the interview and the opportunity to speak to the people of Millington. Just as a reminder, I am married, been married 54 years to my lovely wife, Claudia. She's retired from the Army Corps of Engineers as a certified public accountant. I have one daughter who's a registered nurse that lives in Truckee, California, and my son, Mike Jr., lives in Knoxville, Tennessee, and bleeds orange, and he is a contractor. I feel like I'm very much in tune with the citizens of Millington. I've been chairman of the Housing Authority for 6 years, so I understand the low-income housing. I'm also chairman of the Crisis Center, and we run that very nicely now. And as the Planning Commission, I'm involved with everything that goes on in Millington. The rental business, I have a lot of houses, and I take care of them quite well. And all the tenants, if there's a problem in Millington, they'll tell me about it, and they'll take care of it for anybody. So anyway, I enjoy being an alderman. I've been an alderman. This will be my 4th term, and I've loved every minute of it. So please consider me for alderman again. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tom Stevens. I'm a candidate for the City of Millington Alderman position 7 this year. I'm 58 years old. I grew up in Memphis in the Fraser area. I attended school at Westside High School where I graduated. I also earned a Bachelor of Business Administration degree from Freed Hardeman. Me and the wife moved to Millington 22 years ago with the family. I've got 3 grown children, 2 grandchildren. I'm also retired with 28 years of service with the Germantown Fire Department, and I was promoted to driver.
Question number 1. What will you do to ensure that Millington Municipal School System receives sufficient local funding each year to successfully operate and meet its capital improvement needs? Your 2 minutes starts now.
Basically, we need to get growth with new businesses to keep the revenue up, to fund the school system. We need to have people come spend more money in Millington, and it'd be a nicer place for everybody to come to, and that way it would help with the school system plus with the federal funds that are received. That way the school will be able to maintain their quality as they have today.
Question number 2. What will you do to recruit more businesses and industries to locate in Millington, particularly along Veterans Parkway and Highway 51, as a way to increase economic development? Your 2 minutes starts now.
Well, increasing the businesses along 51, you need a city that looks very appealing where people can come and spend their money. They need more restaurants along Veterans Parkway. They need industrial, since the airport is several hundred yards from Veterans Parkway, and that will also bring in a lot of revenue through the city and just maintain everything in an upbeat situation.
Question number 3. What will you do to ensure that Millington is a safe community with enhanced amenities that inspire individuals and families to make Millington their permanent home? Your 2 minutes starts now.
Millington is a very safe community. They have excellent fire and police. They're very strong in what they do. Their response times are 3 to 5 minutes, which is very good. Call for help, they're there. That would let people come in and want to come in to live up there just because it's a safe city and all, and being a safe city, that would make families want to move to Millington and stay there to raise their families. It's a good hometown community. I am very pleased with it, and it's something to build on.
In closing, you have 2 minutes.
In closing, I would like to thank the Millington Star for doing this so that everybody can watch it. Also, I want to thank all the workers at the city of Millington who do an excellent and fine job to maintain the city on a daily basis. They're very good at what they do, and I'm very pleased with it. Mr. Caruthers has been a great alderman, but it's time for a change on the board. I want to be the new change, with a person that comes in with new ideas, new visions, and to help the city grow, maintain a better place to live for the future.
Thank you for watching this video, and we got to give a special thank you to all the candidates for making time during their busy schedule to come talk to us and inform you, the voters out there, why you should vote for them. It's our pleasure and our duty and our honor at the Millington Star to keep you informed. We've been doing this since 1951, and we look forward to doing it for another 70 years. I want to give a special thank you to Bill Short, our government reporter, for the excellent job he does, keeping me informed and keeping you informed. But remember, October 14th starts early voting. You got to the 29th to go vote anywhere in Shelby County. Then November 3rd is election day. Go help determine Millington's future for a brighter future and a good takeoff.